Good evening, everyone. How are you? It's Thursday evening. You guys are live here on the Dixie Paint page. My name is Brandy. I am the owner and artisan behind Brushed by Brandy. If you guys don't already, go on over and like my page at Brushed by Brandy. And I am a Dixie Paint brand ambassador, and every Thursday night I come here live to paint with you guys on the Dixie Facebook page. So we're going to do some painting tonight. I've got kind of a cool project. So, you guys, my husband Sean is here to answer any questions. If you've got any, pop on along the way. We will answer questions and do some painting. So the piece I'm working on, I already started on a shorter video earlier this week, but I'm going to kind of recap and then we'll keep moving on these. This is a set of nightstands, and on the front here you can see the original finish, and they were pretty ugly. But what attracted me to these nightstands is I really liked that they've got this division in between the drawers. Because even though it's two large drawers, I want to try to make these look like it has 6 smaller drawers on this piece when I'm done. So I actually look for pieces that have a lot of division in between the drawers, because I think you can add a lot of character with hardware, having multiple drawers. So we're going to be changing out the hardware on this piece, and I got this awesome shipment of hardware from D Lawless Hardware. You guys, if you're looking for replacement hardware for your pieces, D Lawless has great replacement hardware. Tons of stuff, everything from vintage styles to modern styles. I'm going to show you a little bit of what I got. So I have ones that have 5-inch hole spacing, and so I got these poles here, which I think are really pretty, and they're the right hole spacing that I need. And everything's super reasonably priced. We used D Lawless when I ordered the hardware for the home that we just built. I got, let's see if I can show these okay. I got these little blue star poles. I just thought those were cute. Maybe if I put them on a diagonal like that, you could put them either way. And then what I'm going to be using on this piece here is these label pulls. So because it's got all these small drawer divisions, I'm kind of thinking like an apothecary style. You know, maybe an old filing cabinet look with all these small drawers. So I'm actually going to take the center hardware off, and I'm going to replace it with 2 smaller label pulls on each side. And I'm going to do one on each, so 2, 4, 6, and then down here 8, 10, 12 of them on each. But these are super inexpensive, so I think they'll be really cool. So we're going to take this, you know, these original gold knobs. Now, I'm a fan of original hardware. I try to use it whenever I've got, I don't have this on the glide, so it's kind of falling out of the, there we go. I try to use original vintage hardware when I've got a full set, but these are just plain. They're just plain gold knobs. There's nothing special about them. Now I will save these in my bin of hardware should I ever need them again, but they're not coming back out for this piece. Another thing that you could do with hardware on this would be, I'm going to fill these holes here, but they make these label holders, so without the pull portion on it, if you just put a label holder, you could cover it with that too, and that would be kind of cool if you wanted to do side pulls. We're going to fill them up, cover them, get rid of them. So I'm going to take these out, and then what I'm going to use to fill these holes is going to be Dixie mud. Get my mud. So Dixie mud comes in 3 colors. It comes in brown, black, and then white. I'm going to use my brown Dixie mud tonight. It's just the closest match to my body color. It doesn't really matter on these because I'm going to paint it anyway. Now my Dixie mud, I'm digging the bottom of the barrel here on my brown. When it starts getting a little skinny, it can start drying a bit, so I just add a little spritz of water. I just misted it with some water. And then I'm going to take like one of these little mini kitchen spatulas. Let's see. Okay, this one's good. And I'm just kind of stir it up a little bit because it's...
What is it, really a kitchen spatula?
Well, yeah, I got this out of our kitchen drawer. I'm going to put it back when I'm done.
Cool.
No, I picked these up at like, you know, Marshall's or Home Goods has these just little sets of kitchen spatulas, and I use them for stirring my paint a lot. So I'm going to dig down into the bottom of my container and get out a little bit, and it's literally the consistency of mud, like playing in the mud. No, there's a big glob, and I'm going to take some and just glob it on and I'll push it, you know, I want to push it in there because I do want to get some depth to it. You can even put some tape on the back of your hardware hole if you want to fill it all the way through to the back, but I just really want to make sure that my front looks, you know, like there's no hole there. Now I will overfill my holes because it can have a tendency to shrink a bit. And I'm going to come back and sand this all down, so I'm going to overfill it to where I have a little mound there. Dixie mud is great for if you need to repair any kind of veneer. I mean, filling hardware holes like that. There's all kinds of stuff you can use this product for. So that was that. Now this drawer down here, I've already filled. And it's nice and dry. And I love Dixie mud because it sands off fairly quickly. Now this is dry, and I've got some pretty big mounds here. So all I'm going to do for that is I'm going to wet them a little bit, and we're going to kind of wet sand these holes down to get a nice smooth surface here. So I'm going to take and just kind of wipe off the excess, and that little bit of water just makes it super easy to wipe off. And then once I get it down a little bit, I will come back and sand.
It's crazy that the water gets into it that fast.
Yeah. Now this one here, I did way too big of a mound. That's my fault. So I'm going to add a little bit more water. That water just kind of reactivates it, and then I can take my little Dixie Belle sanding sponge. And I'm just going to wet sand this flush with my piece. I want to be careful not to sand too far because I don't want to make it a recess again. I want it to be nice and flush with my piece. Man, I put way too much on that one.
That makes it so much easier. You don't have dust to deal with.
Yeah, just that little bit of water eliminates the dust kind of completely. So this is that one I just got way too thick on. No, it's not going to scrape.
Yeah.
Alright, well I'm just going to have to deal
We'll come back to
with
that.
a problem for myself. It happens, guys. You will make problems for yourself. Alright, that's better. I should be able to sand that now.
You're really making me tired.
My arm hurts! How's everyone doing tonight? Is the hurricane passing you guys by? Are people still being affected? How's that going? I'm over here in California, but we're trying to pay attention to you guys. My thoughts are with you. Seen a lot of downed trees. Ooh, that's a perfect one though. So I overfilled that one, but I'll tell you what, might have been worth it. If they look pretty smooth. If I need to add more of the mud, I can. Sometimes it can be hard to tell how flush they are until you put the paint over it and see how smooth your paint is. So now I'm just going to wipe away that dust that I made. I've already cleaned these drawers with Dixie Belle White Lightning. So White Lightning is a granulated formula that you dissolve into water, and then I spray it on and use it just like a cleaner.
You should always have clean drawers.
Yes, definitely. That's what my mom said. You never want to go to the hospital with dirty drawers. Did everybody's mom tell you that? Now that I think about it,
So worst case scenario.
That's horrible. Okay, so I started this project the other day, so I've saved my brush in a Ziploc bag. I try to only do this for one night. This one's been in for 2. The reason I do that is because a brush can hold a lot of paint. And so this way I'm not wasting paint by rinsing out my brush when I know that I need to use that same color again. My main body color on these is the new Dixie Belle French linen. So I'm using French linen. So I'm going to dip into my French linen. Now I've got my holes filled, my desk cleaned off, my drawers
Oh, Kathleen says, yeah, that's true. Clean underwear and no holes.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
No holes. Okay, I didn't understand that, but now that I'm the mom of boys, I understand, like, that's a real thing to wear holy underwear. I didn't think anybody did that.
No reason to bring religion into this.
Yes. Man, boys are rough. They're a whole other species, I swear. I always thought I'd get girls. I was raised in a house of girls, and then I ended up with a house of boys, and I don't get it.
So what kind of brush are you using?
So this is the Dixie Mini. These are my favorite for laying paint on. You can tell this one's a well-loved one. I've got some that are newer and look much prettier. But they clean up great, so even though my handle's a mess, my bristles stay beautiful, and I love these because they lay paint on nice and smooth. Now, as far as getting a smooth paint finish, it's hot. I'm in California. If you feel like your paint is starting to stick, just a single mist of water across the front of your piece will help your brush glide so much easier. This is a self-leveling paint, so if you feel your brush is starting to stick, you're gonna leave brush strokes in it. So just add that little mist of water. You're not trying to dilute your paint so much as just lubricate the surface so your brush glides easier. I'm gonna come over here and get these little edges of my drawer. And this is just a first coat on here. Okay. So
just really quick, just because I found humor in it. Brenda says her mom used to tell her that too until she asked why, because it's not like you're not going to mess yourself as you're going through the windshield.
Okay, I'll tell you guys a story. It has nothing to do with messing myself, by the way. Before you guys start clicking off the screen. Yeah, that'll be next week. No, I was in a car accident when I was 18, and I broke my hip and my pelvic bone. And I'll tell you what, they don't care if your clothes are clean, because they cut it all off with scissors.
I'm pretty sure they do.
Yeah, they do.
No, I'm pretty sure they care.
I don't think so, because they just cut, well, I mean, that...
It's like hazmat suit versus non-hazmat suit.
That extreme they might care about, but I remember being so upset because I was on my way to work at the supermarket that I worked at the time, and they cut my uniform off, and I was like, I don't have a work uniform now. So now I'm going to come over to this one. This one's got my single coat of paint. It's already dry, and we're going to work on the paint finish over here. So my plan for this, because I want that multiple hardware look, you can see I've already filled the holes on these, and I can't even tell. I mean, I know they're there, but they'll look great. You won't even be able to notice once I've got this all painted that there was center hardware on here. So when I'm ready, I will come back and measure and re-drill my holes on the sides. So we're going to come back and add our paint finish now. So let me get my... So tonight, you guys, since I'm chatting you up, I paint. So on my second coat of paint, I know that chalk paint dries with that chalky matte finish, and I pretty much always start with that mist of water. So on my first coat, I don't always need it, but second coat is pretty sure that you're going to need that little mist of water. You also need very little paint. So my second coat is usually a really thin coat of paint. It's really just that finishing coat to get the smooth, you know, even, clean brush strokes. But it's not, I have coverage. I don't need it for coverage. Some lighter colors you might need, good, you know, thicker paint for coverage, but on this I really am just trying to... So that little mist of water and then just a super thin coat of paint, and I've got a second coat on now. Okay, so for this I have my French linen on, and then I'm going to add some Dixie Midnight Sky. I'm going to shade with this a little bit. I also have my Dixie Gravel Road. I might use this too. I'm going to feel out the Midnight Sky and see how I like it. So I'm going to kind of grunge these up a little bit. My paint is still wet. I want to keep it a little bit wet because I'm going to blend this in on the edges. You know what? I need my brush that's over here.
So what's this color?
Okay, so I'm going to start with Midnight Sky. I'm thinking Midnight Sky, but I also have out Gravel Road. So we'll see. If it's too dark, I like to have options.
What's the base color that you already have?
I'm sorry. My base color is the new Dixie Belle French Linen, which is this beautiful, like, soft grayish color. It's a little bit taupe, a little bit gray. Okay. So I want this to be a little bit grungy. So I'm going to add my Midnight Sky to the edges, but I also want to darken this so it looks like a recess in between my drawers. And I can feel my paint getting sticky, so I'm just going to keep my paint wet. I'm just using the Dixie Belle chip brush because it's nice and skinny. I can get into these little crevices really easily. And I want to darken those so it just looks like they're, see how this one where it's actually a recess is dark in there? I want this to look the same. I don't want you to be able to tell, you know, of course logically you will, but I don't want it to be so obvious that these are not all individual drawers.
So Diane's asking how I can read all this and not be cracking up. There's just the comments about the ear. I do. It's just the camera may shake a little. That's kind of the give. That's the tell.
I can't wait. I go back and rewatch these afterwards, you guys, so I can answer your questions. I can't wait to see what you guys are saying. Sean filters you guys for me too. Oh hey, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to work this Midnight Sky into my French Linen. This drawer's not on the glide either. Put it on the glide. Sorry, it just makes the drawer wobbly.
Can't have loose fitting drawers. I mean, you could.
No,
yeah.
It's after Thanksgiving.
It does make it awkward.
Yeah. You had a little too much to eat. Oh, forget it. Okay.
Yep. Looks good.
Yeah. Perfect.
Found on the side of the road.
These are for sale, by the way. Should you be interested?
A unique piece.
So, yeah, adds character, right? We'll just call that character.
As long as it's not used for anything.
So I just want this little bit of Midnight Sky on my edges. It's just going to kind of be a shadowing effect by the time I'm done.
And what's in the spray bottle?
Just water. I'm keeping my paint wet because it's starting to dry and set up, and I'm not done yet. So it's got to wait for me. So I have my French Linen that's still pretty wet. My Midnight Sky is still pretty wet, and this is a clean, dry brush. And I'm just going to feather that Midnight Sky into it.
Amy's on and says hi.
Hey, Amy. Amy's in, where are you? You're in Georgia.
I like Sheila's idea. She keeps vodka in her spray bottle.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although, I don't know if it really works well when it's being sprayed elsewhere aside from the mouth.
On your piece.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Maybe vodka is like a cool paint finish. So we're going to talk about that tonight, about using, you know, different stuff to create interesting paint finishes with. You know, was it last week or the week before I used kitchen salt and made a finish with that. And tonight I'm going to use another kitchen supply, and my little spatulas are from the kitchen. So don't be afraid to try out different, you know, sea sponges and your kitchen supplies and a credit card or whatever you want to paint with. If Sheila wants to paint with vodka,
have at it.
Sheila, you paint with that vodka. So
I guess the longer you paint, it just becomes abstract.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe it will dry your paint extra fast because vodka evaporates really well, you know, and give you like a really cool finish. I don't know. Maybe you just get really drunk and it just looks cool because you have no clue what you just did. I don't know.
Just look in the furniture and the paint.
Vodka can actually be used to get rid of odors on your piece. If you spray your piece down with vodka and place it out in the sun, because vodka evaporates really quickly, it will
catch on fire.
Yes, and then light a match. You're gonna light a match.
You only do that for the good pieces.
Okay, here's a tip for you guys. Go look up Uncle Rob on YouTube. When you're looking at the Brush by Brandy YouTube channel, while you're there, look up Uncle Rob. So Uncle Rob likes to do just light things on fire. It's one of my kids' favorites.
3 boys. Well, we're doing good.
It's pretty funny. So, yeah, if you want to light your piece on fire, he'll give you some alternative ways to do that. So now I've got a pretty cool paint finish on there. I think I like this. And I want to add some patina paint to this one. So the patinas I'm going to use, and I'll get this drawer matching too.
We'll settle for just being installed correctly.
I don't even know if we're gonna get there. So with patina paint, so patina paint is paint that actually has metal particles in the paint. And then when you use it with a reactive spray, it will corrode the metal that is in the paint. So we're gonna start with iron. When iron corrodes, it creates rust. So I'm gonna put some rust on my piece.
Are you gonna do anything to the sides of these drawers?
Yeah, oh, my drawer sides, probably not on these. They're wood drawer boxes. They're in clean condition. I don't think so, but you could paint them, put a stencil on there.
Someone's at the door.
Oh, look, it's patina paint.
I'm not going to answer it.
Come on in, patina paint. I'm going to use my same spatula and I'm going to stir this up really well because all that little pieces of metal and everything can settle at the bottom of your patinas. So I always make sure, don't just shake, stir your patina.
Cynthia said she tried, didn't catch.
Didn't
Yeah, blah, blah, blah.
La, la, la.
Tried to use Everclear to block the smell, and it didn't work.
It didn't work?
But I'm wondering if she drank it instead.
Yeah.
Hey, Gary, yes, you definitely have to go check out my my twin brother, Uncle Rob.
Yeah, Gary would like Uncle Rob. You'll get a kick out of it, Gary. Okay, so I've got this one nice and stirred. This is my iron patina paint. I also want to use my bronze patina paint. I'm going to kind of mix them on here. And I'm going to do the same thing with my bronze, and I'm going to stir this really well. I'm just kind of scooping up from the bottom to pick up like anything that's settled at the bottom and get it integrated into the paint. So I always say there's a few things that I stir, not just shake. Gator hide is one, patinas are another. Okay, so I feel good about that. You guys know what I'm going to put this on with? I've used it before and I really liked the look, so we're going to use it again. We're going to use this little guy right here. It's a basting brush. It's a silicone basting brush for the kitchen. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of alternate between my...
I really hope that if that's for the kitchen, that's for something to bake with, because that's like for someone on a diet. That's super tiny.
Yeah, not in our kitchen. You guys, while we're here tonight, and then I'm going to kind of scratch this on so it looks like...
So you do not shake gator hide?
You can shake it, but I always stir it as well. So in addition to, but I don't just shake it.
Because it's so thin, I would just think that it's better to stir it versus shake.
Gator hide's one of those ones that you want it to be really well mixed before you put it on. So I always stir my gator hide. It can get streaky if it's not well mixed. So just always stir your gator hide. You guys, I just wrote a blog post this last week on some of my best tips for gator hide. So if you're struggling with your gator hide, go check that out. Okay, so I've streaked in some of the iron. Now I'm going to streak in some bronze, and then we'll spray it. Kind of want them a little integrated together. Going mostly on the edges, you know, a little bit in my centers. So the bronze is going to corrode to be kind of a dark blue color. I think it's pretty against the orange of the rust. So iron patina paint works best. The sprays come in a blue and a green. And the blue and the green just indicates what color your corrosion will tend towards. So the iron tends to work best with the green spray. So because I have a lot of iron on here, I'm going to use the green spray primarily. It comes in a separate bottle, and then you get your spray nozzle with it, and you want to spray or screw that onto your container. I don't store the spray nozzle on my bottle. I always take this spray nozzle off when I'm done, and I flush it out with water, and I store them separately. I put the cap back on, so don't throw your cap away. Store your sprays with the cap on and flush your sprayer out when you're done. And then I'm just going to spray this.
You're crazy.
If you're a mouth freezer, close your mouth, because this stuff tastes nasty. You also don't want to rinse your patina paints down your sink. Patinas are something you shouldn't put down your sink. Same with Dixie mud. So we've got two products here that you should not put down your sink. So if you're washing out brushes full of patina paint and spray, don't put that down your sink. So now we're just going to let this kind of hang out. It's going to start transforming those metal colors. So while it's doing that, I'm going to come down here and I'm going to put that midnight sky on the edges of this drawer, and we'll keep coming back and kind of checking on this. I want it to be a little bit drippy. I don't care if my paint starts getting drippy.
So Trisha asked a question. I'm just going to ask her to elaborate. So I'll wait for her to.
Oh, I wanted to come back though because guys, we are celebrating something in our house, and Sean got a new job this week.
Oh man.
So please congratulate Sean on his new job. It is a phenomenal job.
Sheila, it's actually super easy. They're just a wood glide. Here, can you scoot to the side? She was curious how you're going to fix those drawers.
Oh, they're not broken.
They're just not going
on the glide. So it's just these here, and I just don't have it sat in the
super
proper.
Simple.
I just don't have it sat in the right place. And I was trying to find, you know, you have to get it in the little groove. I was trying to find that, but they're not broken at all. So this one, same thing. It only has a single coat of paint on here right now. So I'm going to come in here. Still got a little bit of paint on my brush. This is the French linen. I really like the combo of the...
Okay, so as far as the spray bottles, why do you keep the nozzle or take the nozzle off?
Great question. Because the nozzles have metal in them, number one. So there's a little spring in there, right? That makes it spray. That's how a spray nozzle works. It will start corroding that metal in there. It can also clog up the tip with, you know, the corroded particles will corrode, you know, it's corrosive material in here. So
you'd just be surprised, and you don't want to be surprised.
It's going to degrade that sprayer. So if you don't use it all in one single use and you want to come back and use it later, flush out your sprayer, store it separately, and put that little cap back on. But you'll notice, I mean, if you've ever done it, if you store that tip on there and you come back to use your sprays, that it'll be clogged and it won't work, and you'll have to go get another sprayer at the dollar store or whatever.
Thank you, everyone. Brenda says it's in another big box store.
Yes.
No.
It starts with a W and has a big star on the sign. Sean's going to be greeting you at the door of Walmart. We're so proud of him.
Oh man. So yes, to answer a couple of the questions, just to blast through, I'm still going to be working in finance, but the good news is I get to work from home.
So here's the deal, you guys. I want you guys to pay attention over the next few weeks, and if Sean and I just start getting like short with each other, it means it's not going well with him working at home.
It means I got to go get another new job?
Yeah, obviously I stay home already with the kids, so we're both going to be home together all day. And we are either going to start hating each other, or like our house is going to get just phenomenally easier. I'm excited because like my kids' school schedule right now, I'm ready to kill somebody with. Yesterday I drove in and out of my house 10 times just picking up kids. It's so obnoxious right now.
So do you worry, let's get back to business, shall we? Do you worry about overspray on your piece when you're doing stuff like this?
I don't, because this kind of look is it's a grungy, like, you know, dirty, you know, rusty finish. If you don't want that, you can just take a paper towel and kind of blot your piece. Like I've got some running down here. Actually, I'm going to come back and do the sides too. So this is all going to get dripped on. But you can just come back and, you know, either blot or wipe your excess spray off if you get too much spray on there. I'm not on this one. It actually kind of fits in with my look of my piece. Okay, so I feathered in my Midnight Sky, keeping my paint wet, and I'm just going to come back and kind of brush that in. And this,
Sheila's got a point. We could always let Uber show for the kids.
it's not a bad idea, I'm telling you. It's killing me right now. I was like having a breakdown.
I would be a horrible mother.
Except
well, it's all in the eyes of the beholder.
Here I am telling my kids, like, okay, what do you do if somebody tries to get you in the car with them, like, and you don't know who they are, you run and scream, blah, 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 tell an adult. And then I'm going to be like, but a stranger's going to pick you up from school today.
Some random.
Yeah. Just get in the car, don't ask questions, hand them a 20.
Well, it's like I say when we throw our kids in soccer. You teach your kids to be polite and whatnot, then you throw them in soccer and you're like, go get the ball.
Yeah. And they're nervous to, like, accidentally hit or kick somebody in the shins, or, you know, sorry, did I bump you? Or, like, you know, and sports are not like that. So I do notice the kids are really timid in soccer because...
So let's go over your list of colors again. Your base color is?
French linen, Dixie French linen. This is
and
only
now
two
you're
colors.
using?
Midnight Sky.
And then what are the other colors that
And then I'm just using patina paint. So the copper and the iron patina paint. So this doesn't have to be a perfect blend. I really just kind of want to dirty up the edges, get it a little bit darker gray. So it's not a perfect blend. That's not the look I'm going for. I darkened up my crevices in here so it looks like a shadow. And then same as we did on this drawer. So I have a theory, you guys, and I think this is a really old container of iron. I'm going to get a fresher one because I don't like how that is working. The reason I think that one is an older container is because I think at one point I tried to, like, add water to see if I could freshen it up. And that's why it kind of spilled all over me. So I'm going to open up a new one because it's not...
So I'm going to rapid fire question at you.
Go.
Just
shoot.
one. I'm just kidding. I think there's multiple. Are you self-taught?
Yeah. I'm just winging it here. I got no clue what I'm doing.
Hope and a prayer.
Yeah, winging a prayer. Yeah, no, I mean, I have always been creative and artistic and really enjoyed all this stuff. But I, you know, I did just like you guys did, and I watched videos when I first started, and I read blogs, and I
had to put up with somebody else's not comical husband?
Yeah, you know, I watched other poor quality YouTubers who... So
I didn't think that was funny.
I'm kind of cross-hatching this with my basting brush, so I'm not just putting it on. So this is the newer can of iron. So I think I added water to that one just to try it, and it didn't work. So don't add water to your patinas is what I'm getting at.
But it's all about experimentation.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I learned stuff along the way. There's things that work and don't work. That's kind of why the brand ambassadors are here, is to experiment with things and show you how to, you know, what works and give you...
Speaking of what works, how's that stool treating you?
Oh, man.
Where'd you get that?
So my stool that I sit on is actually a broken mechanic stool.
What?
Yeah, it's missing the post.
Here. Yeah.
As opposed to, you know, yeah, Sean has one that is properly assembled. So my,
And the post broke?
It broke, and so we just took the post out of it. It's from Lowe's. Because I've heard some people getting ones that you can't take the post out of. It's like welded to the seat, but the one from Lowe's, the seat comes off of. And then it's just sat on the base so I can scoot around.
So it's like a hover bar?
Yeah. Was paid for.
Well, Nancy, if you want one of these stools, what you do is you go to the store, you buy one, and then you put it together and put it on top of your car and go driving down the freeway and then go back and pick it up.
Break it.
Yeah.
Go buy it and then break it. I don't like to advocate Hang on, I don't want to talk because this stuff is gross. Okay. I don't want to abdicate that because really what I'm telling you guys to do is like improperly assemble something. Oh, okay. So I see my colors are starting to turn. Can you guys see the orange that's starting to show up here? That's my iron patina paint. And then I've got a little bit of green kind of coming in here. So it's starting to corrode, but I'm going to add a little bit more of the iron here, the fresher one.
So the question is, my new job, will I be making these stools?
Yeah, Sean's actually going to be going to China. So I'm nervous if I tell people that use their stool rung that somebody's going to be like, Brandy told me to do it and now I broke my back.
So we should post like a link to some kind of an agreement?
Yeah, I need like a, you know, I don't know, not a non-disclosure.
Wow.
Yeah, please
Well, about that.
Please don't disclose anything you see here on my video. So I can see this orange kind of working itself out down here, and I think it's going to be really pretty. The iron patina paint takes longer than most of the others to react, so it's a slower reaction. So it's one of the ones that you have to leave it overnight and come back and look at, and don't mess around with it. Just trust that it's going to do its thing. Give it its time. It needs to be alone. You know, it's kind of the lamenting, like, dramatic patina paint versus
Trying to spray me.
The copper and the bronze that are more like friendly and agreeable. So I think now you can kind of see where I'm going with this. Where I'll have these poles on here and they'll be a little bit industrial looking. I think they'll be really cool looking side tables like that.
Did the hardware come with the nails? I'm just asking for a friend.
Oh, yeah. So when you're at Home Depot next time.
Okay.
No, you know what? This one didn't.
I'll have to take one with me so that I...
Yeah, so most
It just seems like an odd size for the...
Most of the D-Lawless hardware does come in a package with screws. But yeah, these don't have screws with them.
Dang it.
So that's okay. We'll just have to go to Home Depot and find some that fit.
Just trying to set me up for failure.
By we have to go to Home Depot, I mean Sean has to go to Home
Like
Depot.
every day
and find some that
I go? Yeah.
Well, you work there, so...
Big box store. Yep.
You're joining the,
Yeah.
joining the circus now?
Yep. It's kind of what it is every time you go in there.
Kind of what it is every time you come home.
Yep.
So now,
Wait for it.
put this in.
Yep.
Ta-da!
And this is what keeps me busy.
It's not broken. There.
It looks perfectly fine.
For sale.
Yeah.
Put a sign on it. It's going out in the driveway.
Look, it just fell out of the truck.
Okay. So I'm going to let this kind of do its thing and react. I can see the oranges coming in up here. I think it's kind of cool. But I like it. And then I'll add some of my patina paints and, you know, the same thing here and on the side so it's all a consistent look. That is it, you guys. That is it. So I'm going to let you guys go. I'll be here live next Thursday. You guys, if you haven't already, can I tell you something? I'm going to Southern California in 3 weeks.
Yes.
3 weeks. The Redesign with Dixie Belle conference is in Ontario, California, September 28th and 29th. There is 6 of us teaching there, 2 days of full classes, hands-on classes. That in my class, we're going to be working with molds. We're going to be making molds with resin. We're going to be blending with paint. We're going to be using waxes and powders and all kinds of stuff. Making a cool project. You get to take your projects home with you. You get to put your hands on all kinds of stuff. So that's Redesign with Dixie Belle Conference 2019. Redesign with Prima and Dixie Belle have teamed up. So you get both lines of products in one place. If you haven't already, it's only 3 weeks away, you guys. So pick up your tickets while they're still available. I'm also teaching November 3rd in New Jersey at the Bells and Bow Tour. So there's an East Coast option and a West Coast option available right now. But your time is running out. So if you've been thinking about it, get off the fence, go buy your ticket, come to Ontario with me. But I'm going to pop off. I'll be here again live next Thursday. And we'll do something else, but I'll finish these up and get you guys pictures out. You guys have a great weekend. Thank you so much. I can't wait to read all your comments and questions about drawers. And I'll see you guys next week.